We continue now at the top of Daf Samach Gimel Amud Aleph from Mesechet Kesuvos. This is Kesuvos Daf 63a. The Gemara here continues the story of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva left his wife to learn for 12 years, and then when he came back, he overheard an old man saying to his wife, "Kamedaberes almonas chaim, how long are you going to lead this life of being a widow while your husband is alive?" In other words, you're letting him learn for so long away from you. It's almost like you're a widow during the life of your husband. Amrle, so she said back to him, to the older man, "Ilididid sayis, if he would listen to me," meaning if Rabbi Akiva would listen to me, Yosef Tzrei Sari Shnei Achrini, he would sit for another 12 years and learn. So Amar, so Rabbi Akiva overheard this and he said to himself, "Birashus Klavinda, I'm doing this with the permission of my wife." So Hader Azil v'Yosef Trei Sari Shani Achrini. Therefore he went and he learned for another 12 years B'vei Rav in the study hall. Kiyasa, when he came back after these subsequent 12 years, I see Bahadei Esron v'Arba Alfei Talmidi. He brought with him 24,000 Talmidim. Shama Devisu, and his wife heard that he was coming. Hava Kanafka La'ape, she was going to greet him. Amru La Shevavasa She'ili Mani Lavush V'Kasoi. So her neighbor said to her, borrow some clothing, some appropriate clothing, and cover up properly. Amru Luhu, so she said to them, "No, Yodei Tzadik Nefesh Behemto, that Tzadik knows the soul of his animal," meaning to say, he will understand exactly why I am dressed as I am dressed. There's no need for me to borrow any clothing. Kimatyu Legabe, when she reached him, Nafla Lapa, she fell on her face. Kaminashkele Lakare, she was kissing his legs. Hava Kamedach Filoshame, and his attendants, they were pushing her away. They didn't know who she was. Amar Luhu, he said to them, Shavkua, leave her alone. Shaliva Shalachem Shalahu. What is mine and what is yours really belongs to her. It's really to her credit. And the Gemara continues, Shama Avua Da'asa Gavra Rabba. So then her father heard that a great person had come Lamasa to the city. Amar, he said, Ezel Legabe, I'll go to him. Efshar Demefer Nidroi, maybe he'll be Mefer, maybe he'll annul my vow, because he had made a vow when his daughter had married Rabbi Akiva, so he made a vow that he wasn't going to give her any of his wealth. And now he wanted to annul that vow. So Asa Legabe, so he came to him, Amar Le, so Rabbi Akiva said to him, Adaita de Gavra Rabba Minadarat, when you made this neder, were you thinking that this person might be a great person? Amar Le said back to him, Afilu Parak Echad v'afilu halacha achas. Even if this Rabbi Akiva would learn just one parak or one halacha, I would not have made such a neder. Amar Leis, Rabbi Akiva said to him, I know who, so I am Rabbi Akiva. So clearly Rabbi Akiva knew much more than a parak and a halacha. Nafal alape v'nashke al kare, so now Ben Kalba Savua, he fell on his face and he kissed his legs, v'yoyev le palgamamone, and he gave him half of his wealth. And the Gemara continues, Brate de Rabbi Akiva of the Leila Ben Azai Hachi. The daughter of Rabbi Akiva made the same kind of deal with Ben Azai. In other words, she allowed him to learn for a long period of time that he did not need to be with her. V'hainu da'amri inshi, that's what people say, Rechela basa Rechela. The ewe follows the ewe, meaning to say, Azlet goes, it follows its mother. Ka'ovdei ima kach ovdei brata. Like the way the mother does, that's what the daughter does. That's exactly what happened. Just like the wife of Rabbi Akiva allowed him to learn, so too the daughter of Rabbi Akiva allowed her husband to learn. And we'll take a look at Tosas over here. Tosas over here points out, Barati de Rabbi Akiva of the Leila Ben Azai Hachi, the daughter of Rabbi Akiva, sounds like from the Gemara, she married Ben Azai, Vim Tomar V'Parakam de Sota Parich, V'Ika Ben Azai de Lo Nasiv. In the first parak of Sota, it implies that Ben Azai never got married. Here it implies that he married Rabbi Akiva's daughter. Ulahu Lishna de Meshani Nasiv Upirish Asi Shaper. There is a version over there where it says he did get married and then he separated, so that would make sense. V'Yesh Lomar, but we could answer for the other version, the Afagav de Kamar Hacha de Av de Hachi, Le Ben Azai Mikam and maybe over here it's not talking about Nisuin, it's only talking about Erison, it's only talking about the betrothal. And the Gemara continues, Rav Yosef Berei de Rava, Rav Yosef the son of Rava, Shadrei Avui, Levei Rav Lekami de Rav Yosef. His father sent him to learn in the study hall in front of Rav Yosef. Paskule Shishni, they made a deal that he would learn for 6 years. Kiavetoloshni, when 3 years went by, Mata Mali Yom de Kippure, so it arrived there of Yom Kippur, Amar, and he said, Ezel Vechzinu Linshe Beise, I want to go, I want to see my family, I want to see my wife after 3 years, even though they said 6 years. Shama Avui, so his father heard this. Shakal Manav Nafak, he took like a weapon and he went out in front of him. He said, you can't leave early. Amar Le, he said to him, Zonazcha Nizkarta, have you remembered your Zona? Ika Diamri, some people say that would mean, have you remembered like your mistress? Ika Diamri, some say, Amar Le said, Yonazcha Nizkarta, did you remember your dove? That's why you want to leave the learning. So Itrid Lo Marifsik Velo Marifsik. The Gemara says they both were so preoccupied that neither this master ate the Suda Mafsekes, nor the other one, they missed the Suda Mafsekes because of this confrontation. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Hamoredes al Bala, let's say you have a woman who's rebelling against her husband, Pochsin la miksubasa. We deduct from her ksuba Shiva dinarim b'Shabbos, 7 dinarim every single week. Rabbi Yehuda says Shiva tarpikin. It's 7 tarpikin, which is 7 half dinarim every single week. Ad masay upoches. Now, until how long does he deduct for? Ad keneged ksubas, until it equals her ksuba, meaning until it brings her ksuba down to 0. At that point, he should divorce her without a ksuba. Rabbi Yossi disagrees. Rabbi Yossi says liolam upoches. He can continue to deduct so that she owes him money. Upoches v'holech. He can continue to deduct ad shem tipo lo yerushim imakam acher. And if it happens to be that she gets an inheritance from another source, go v'heimena. He can collect from her. And the Mishnah continues, V'chein hamored al ishto, also the reverse. Let's say somebody rebels against his wife, Mosivan al ksuba, so then we add on to her ksuba, Shlosha dinar and b'Shabbos, 3 dinar each week. Rabbi Yehuda says Shlosha tarpikin, 3 tarpikin each week. Again, a tarpik is a half a dinar. And the Gemara says, Moredes mimai, what is the nature of this rebellion when the wife is rebelling against her husband? Rav Huna Amar mitash mishamita, Rav Huna says she's refusing to have relations with him. Rav Yossi Rabbi Chanina Amar, Rav Yossi Rabbi Chanina says, Mimalacha, she's refusing to do the work for him, the tasks that she's obligated to perform. And the Gemara continues, Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, V'chein ha-mored al ishto. It says similarly, let's say he rebels against her, if he rebels against his wife. And so the Gemara says, B'shalom alamandam remit hashmish. I understand if you say that the nature of the rebellion is not having relations, is abstaining from relations, l'chai, that makes sense. In other words, he can abstain or she can abstain. But according to the one who says that the rebellion, the nature of the rebellion is not doing the work, so mi meshubed lo, is he meshubed to do work for her? What work does he have to do for his wife? And the Gemara says, yes, he is meshubed to do stuff. Biomer eini zon vein mefarnes. Let's say he says, I'm not going to give her food, I'm not going to give her parnasa. That's something he's obligated to do. So that would be the similar thing by the husband that exists by the wife. And the Gemara continues, V'amar Rab, but didn't Rav say, Ha'omer eini zon vein mefarnes yotzi v'iten ksuba? That if somebody says, I'm not going to give support, I'm not going to give food, so then they have to divorce her and give the ksuba immediately. So what is this whole idea over here that he has to add to the ksuba? Doesn't he have to just divorce her immediately? To that, the Gemara says, no, v'lav lamluche beiboy, but don't we need to consult him first? We need to approach him, ask him what's going on, see if he wants to change the nature of his behavior. And during that time period, the Mishnah is saying that he would have to add on to the ksuba because he is rebelling. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. Meisvei, we have a question from the following brisa. Achas li arusa unasua v'afilu nida v'afilu chola v'afilu shomeres yavam. This halacha over here about a rebellious wife, it applies if it's an arusa, a woman who's just betrothed, or a married woman, or a nida, or if she's sick, or if she's a shomeres yavam. It applies in all of these situations. And we will read the parentheses over here. The Gemara says, I understand if you say that the nature of the rebellion is from doing work. That makes sense. All of these different kinds of wives have work that they're abstaining from, which is considered a rebellion. But if you say that the idea over here is that she's abstaining from tashmish, from having relations, so how could you have nida in this list? Nida bas tashmish, is a nida somebody who even is allowed to have relations with her husband? She's not even allowed. So the brisa wouldn't make sense if we're talking about relations. And to that the Gemara answers, Amar loch, that shita can say to you, Eino doma misha yesh lo pas pasalo, lamisha ein lo. There's no comparison between someone who has bread in his basket and someone who does not. Meaning to say, if she's saying she won't have relations, that's already a different level than simply being a nida, and so that could be considered an act of rebellion. And the Gemara continues, Ika diarmi, some have the version as follows. The way we bring the proof from the brisa is in the following way. On the contrary, this brisa fits according to the one who says that the abstaining is talking about tashmish. Hainu dekatani cholika, somebody who's sick can abstain from tashmish. That makes sense. So you can understand all of these lines in the brisa, all of these examples in the brisa referring to somebody who's abstaining and rebelling by abstaining from tashmish hamita. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Samech Gimel Amud Beis.